Today I want to talk about Brandon Sanderson and his Mistborn trilogy. I have to say that I haven't read him before, although he has been recommended to me like 1,000 times. And suddenly, everyone in the book club that I belong to began talking about the Skyward when it first came out. And I don't know why, I guess it was all the hype surrounding that book that I finally got into reading his work. And I don't know exactly why I did choose Mistborn, but I did choose Mistborn to begin reading Sanderson. And I have to say that I love what he does a lot. I mean, I'm not going to do any spoiler about the Mistborn trilogy because it will be a shitty thing to do because each one of the book it's like 700, 800 pages. So I'm going to be very vague about what is it about. I'm only going to say things that you can know from the summary from the first book. It's a book that talks about what will happen if the one that had to be the hero, the one that had to save the day, turned out to be the villain, the bad guy. And we are going to find this world in which there is this separation between people who have to serve. They are called the scam, and they're like a lower class, and they have to serve the higher classes. And we're going to find this revolutionary called Kelsier. Kelsier had been imprisoned, and we will learn more about why he was and what happened there. Well, we keep on reading, but let's say that he just puts together a bunch of brothers, friends, and he seeks to overthrow the regime. And during that idea of putting together this band of brothers, he also lists a girl called Bean, and she comes from lower classes, and she has been using this ability that she doesn't know exactly how it works, but it seems like she can influence people to think a certain way, or she can bring luck about, and she doesn't know exactly what is it that she's doing or how she's doing that. And Kelsier is going to teach her about being an alchemist, about being a Mistborn, and that's being born with the ability of using different metals to do different kinds of things. And yeah, that's almost everything that I'm going to say. But just say that Kelsier wants to top off the regime, and he wants to fight against the Lord Ruler. Lord Ruler was the guy who was supposed to be the hero but turned out to be a villain, and there's going to be all this mystique about them fighting and all of that. And yeah, I have been very vague because I don't want to spoil anything, as I said. But for me, one of the things that surprises me the most about this trilogy is that sometimes it's when you read a book that has been written way back and you read it today, it doesn't hold up, because maybe when you read that, the society around you work in a certain way, and when you read years later, you find that there was a lot of misconceptions or about things that you didn't want to see. For instance, lately I have seen lots of books that talk about the women and about how they can be leaders, and this idea of having powerful female leads that do everything, this idea of having a guy that doesn't come to save the day, that doesn't say, hey, just go because I'm here and I can do everything, but having a guy who comes and say, hey, how can I help you, this kind of things. And it did surprise me a lot that you have that in the Mistborn trilogy, and it was written like 10 or more years ago. You have this person being who is a girl, and she comes into herself during the trilogy, and we are going to find her growing stronger in herself and finding her being the strongest female lead that I have ever seen in fantasy. Maybe, I don't know, but she's amazing. And one of the things that makes her so amazing is that she's human. What I mean by that, it's another thing that I have come to love in recent books that I have read. It's that you have this idea of the not perfect character. Usually we had these perfect characters which did everything right, and it was like they were human. They weren't human at all, because they could do anything and they did anything and they did it greatly. And it was like, okay, I cannot relate to this, because we try and we fail and we get up and try again. And this idea has been going into books, so sadly. And for me, it was amazing to find that all the heroes in the Mistborn trilogy are human, and they screw up and they do bad things, and they learn and move on and try to do better. And that was amazing for me. As I was saying, Bean is one of the main characters, and she's a girl who comes to be a woman, a person on her own right, and she goes through an amazing journey of self-discovery and self-worth. And it's amazing to see how much she evolves during the 3 books. And one of the things I like is that she falls in love, but the guy doesn't try to say, hey, let me mansplain things, I'm going to be the hero. But rather, he finds that he trusts her, and more than once, you're going to find him saying things to her like, okay, I trust you, how can I help you? It's not like that I know how to do things better. No, it's more like, okay, what do you need? What do you want me to do? And I find that this is amazing. Also, we are going to find a character who battles with mental health. There's a character, something happens to him, he loses someone, and he falls into a depression. And he begins questioning everything he always believed in. And for me, that was amazing, because having characters that question their mental health, the values of all their lives, that they feel a loss so much that they think, okay, let's take a stand and let's think who I was before and who I am now. That for me was amazing, because as I say, one of the things that I really like about Sanderson is that he created characters that human, are amazing, and all of them are alive in a way that's amazing. I did love to see this character fall into this kind of depression, not because I did love to see him suffering, but because I think that it's something that happens in life, that sometimes something happens to you and you get shaken up to your core, and you have to take a stand and say, okay, I want to cry, I want to call up into a ball, I want to do that, I will do that, but then I will walk again, I will try to find something that calls to me, and I will try to reevaluate maybe all my life, because I want to know how I can go on. And having that in a book like Mistborn, for me, was amazing. I mean, wow. I have to say that I love all these ideas that Brandon Sanderson throws around in the book. This idea that maybe someone you think should have been different, maybe a hero that you think is a villain, maybe it's not so bad after all, or maybe he is, or maybe he isn't. I love this idea of having characters that are human and that make mistakes, as I say, and they try to be better. I love how there's characters who are simply just who they are, and that's okay, because in real life you have people that excel at some things and you have people that excel at other things, and you have to learn that maybe maybe they are not exactly as you, but they are doing the best, and they are great just as they are. And I love this idea that Sanderson makes you think about all of this while telling an amazing story. I mean, I love the world building he created in the Mistborn trilogy. I love all the geographic, I love the politics, I did love all the magic that he created, and absolutely loved all the races that he creates in the book. I love the Kandra, and I love the Colors, and I love this idea of it's not good to enslave other people, it's not good to judge other people based on what they look like or the color of their skin. And I love this idea that he has, that even the most bizarre creature that you can imagine, maybe it's as human as you are inside. Not human as a form of humanity, human being, but human, feelings, way of thinking, way of acting. I love that he presents this society that has slaves and makes you think about that not being right, about not justifying this oppressive system that just tries to shut up people who are different. And there's lots of things about Sanderson that I did love. I mean, he is a master of science fiction, he's a master of fantasy, and he's an amazing, and a master, I will say again, of world building and creating worlds, people, magic, and I felt like I was inside the books, but I think that he also is a master about toggling with topics that are amazing, like female power, female leadership, not judging another person or another race, culture, etc. for the way they have of thinking, but trying to embrace those who are different to you. I love this idea of having mental illnesses or human answers to trauma in the books. I love this story that he told and how he made me think about what it's like to be a hero. Does it mean always being right and doing always the right thing? Or does it mean that you do wrong choices but you decide to try to do your best despite everything that went to shit? And that for me it's what makes a hero, not the many times that someone falls, but the many times that someone get up and say, hey, here I am. And I did love this sense of friendship, of camaraderie, of family that the characters have. And I love even the most hateful of them because they all had something to give to the story. So if you're like me and you haven't read Sanderson, please make yourself a favor, pick one of his books and lose yourself into the amazing world that he creates. He's a master of words. He's amazing writing and describing. You feel like you're inside his books and you feel like the characters are someone who you can clap on the back and say well done. So yeah, I only have good things to say about him and the Mistborn trilogy and the concepts he tackles. So yeah, go pick one of his books because they are amazing and you won't regret it. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.